Yeah. Don't go for it too close.
Yep.
Okay, so thanks everyone for joining us. This is a Finance Committee meeting of Hemsworth Town Council, held at Community Centre on Bullenshaw Road. Hemsworth commencing at 7 PM on Thursday the 9th March. For the purpose of transacting the following business. Item number 1, apologies for absence.
Councillors Wilson, Eccles and Pringle, Madam Chair.
Declarations of interest. Councillors should propose pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest in any item or items on this agenda. Minutes. Please approve the minutes of the meeting held on the 12th of January 2023. Mover. Yeah, second. Subcommittees, Finance, so on the 12th of Jan. Mover, seconder. Thanks, sir. Payment of accounts for January and February. Mover. Item number 6, grant support. Consider request for grant funding or support from. First one is Kinscraft Workshop.
Yeah, £500 if that's Madam Chair.
So this is a request for £500 for the Kinscraft Workshop. I think that it is. We've got anybody here?
No. I'm the secretary, General. Desperately in need of some new machinery.
Is it on?
We've got a bandsaw which is quite old now. It's the old machine we've got cutting the wood very often. It's all we use is fuse with building section. And then it breaks down and then don't use it. So we need to get some more wood cutting machine. Table saw, chops.
I think normally for these type of requests, we would make a grant of around 250. So
Yep.
I'll propose 250. Does anyone want to second it?
Chair.
Yeah.
Have they ever had any grants before? And will £500 get them what they want? Will £500 get you what you need?
Well, actually not. But I don't, you actually need about 1,000. So I don't take it off to get 500. And then maybe use that and then come back maybe later in the year for another 5.
And you've had no grants before?
Not whilst I've been I have no idea what. You could probably tell me, someone could tell me.
Yeah.
Got it past the.
No. I propose that we give them 500, Chair.
I mean, I made a proposal of 250, considering what we've given other similar groups. I think we have to just treat everyone fairly. I think 250 would go some way towards it. And I know there are other grants out there as well.
Sorry?
So there are other grants that you could apply for as well and come back next year. We could do it per financial year.
Yes, but we have a lot of running costs as well, which we have to go out for grants. Although we charge £2 a session, it doesn't cover our overheads even close to that. So we've got grants in now to Haribo, National Trust. Well, National Trust we've been knocked back. Haribo we're just waiting. But 250 would give us
Sorry,
one of the machines.
sorry, just 1 second. Can you just, it's really off-putting when you're whispering. I can't hear what the gentleman's saying. Just carry on, please. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying that, as I say, we could have done with 1,000, but I cut it down to 500 to the minimum that I thought we could manage. Also, I don't know.
How much is left in the
Budget.
Yeah.
11,000.
plenty? Right, so we go with £500.
500.
All in favour?
No, it's fine.
I'm just telling her that Bunga answer.
So the second one was from Hemsworth Miners Welfare Cricket Club. Did you want to say anything?
Yeah, so I'm Jason Garrett. Didn't think I'd do this, but there you go. So we are the only cricket club representing Kingsley, Fitzwilliam and Hemsworth. As some of you may be aware, and I know we've had Maxine down this year. We've been hit pretty badly by the Wakefield Council this year in regards to our building, where we've had to provide an upgrade on fire safety, water testing, boiler, you name it, we've had to do it. It's cost us about £10,000 this year just to become compliant. Our goal this year is we want to bring junior cricket back to our club for the district, and we've created ties with 2 primary schools around here, and we'll be starting in April. But also we want to make our club completely family friendly, and we want to make it a community place as well. So to offer it out to groups within the community. To do that, in order to do that, there's quite a bit of internal building works that need to be done after all the work that's gone on over winter. So we've got plastering, we've upgraded toilets, we need work around the kitchen. It's just never ending for building that's 50 years old. So we've come looking for a grant to help support that and to help with our goal of making the building safe and as user-friendly as possible so that we can begin those strong ties in the community.
Thank you.
Just to make it that this is totally voluntary and it's a community group, it's nothing, it's not a business.
I mean, we've just done 500. Are we going to go for another 500 and match it?
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Number 7 then, Kingsley War Memorial. This is to consider a request from resident steering group and WH to improve the War Memorial in Kingsley. I think this is for us to get our staff to do some painting of the fences. Now we know it's definitely ours.
Yeah.
I've got no problem with it. It's the cost of what, paint, shrubs, that sort of thing.
WDH.
With your permission, Madam Chair. Yeah, coincidentally, 2 items of correspondence came in. One from the steering group, which says that the memorial does look neglected and unloved. Residents would be grateful if it could be replanted and painted to make it look like it and its function matter. And then separate to that, correspondence from WDH, that's Wakefield and District Housing. Would the Town Council be interested in working together with WDH to improve the area around the memorial?
Yeah, it used to get done though all the time, didn't it?
Yep, I think we go for it.
Yeah.
All in favour?
Yeah.
Next one is in regards to defibrillators.
Seems like it's-
So what, we've got a problem with on Olibank and that, there's no defibrillators. And the lady whose son collapsed needed one, but the one in cemetery football ground it's behind block gate. Nobody can get to it, which is wasting it. It's only weekends it can get used. So I've been speaking to the football club, and we're asking if we can move it so outside the gates, so it can become for not only for football club but for the old people's bungalows in that area. And if we could fund moving it and that.
We need that in writing from the Cherries though, because it's their defibrillator.
I'm just about in first place.
So we just agree in principle then, yeah?
So I'll get Terry's.
Yeah.
Yeah, there shouldn't be a problem there, Maxine, because when we put in for them, Fitzwilliam, Kingsley, Hemsworth, we'll never have any problem getting a defib.
Should be fine then to move it.
Yeah, there should be no
Well,
problem.
The lady would have had to run down to the community centre to get a defib.
Yeah,
That's something that's kind of outside. You don't pick it up. Okay, all in favour?
definitely.
Either that or we get one and put one up there with them.
Budget update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As of Q3, the council was 4% over budget.
4% over budget.
Oh, oh.
For
Alan, have you got another?
Agenda.
You've got an agenda, Scott?
I left one.
Agenda.
I left that one for Alan. It's got a note for Alan, hasn't it? We'll post it on the front there.
Well, Jeff, I don't want Jeff to come with mine that I've got.
That one in your right hand there, Anne.
Well,
That one in your hand there, that was for Alan. There's a note there saying for Alan.
No, we haven't got one now.
Right, are we all settled?
Oh, look, we've got loads now.
Right, moving on then to item 10. Ready to go? Accounts transparency, to discuss and review account transparency. So this is one that I've got, myself and Maxine have put on the agenda, and it's in regards to some queries that we both had. And I just, rather than talk it through, I hate reading statements, so I'm going to read it out just because I think I'll not miss anything then. So excuse me reading it, but it just keeps it clear in my head. So as you'll know, there have been many questions asked about the spending at Hemsworth Town Council since 2019. This led to an audit in 2020 that highlighted some areas of concerns that are being addressed. One item to my knowledge is outstanding, and this is an investigation into a councillor taking money from petty cash and not for some time providing a receipt. We awaited the outcome after contacting the police. We were told that this would not be investigated unless it was reported by HGC and an individual. Further to that, there was a question raised about the purchase for the water park that involved tarmac. On face value, the payment is correct. An invoice was provided and paid. However, despite this, it took weeks and a phone call from the clerk to a former employee to establish where this concrete went. Some in the patio and the rest in other areas of the park. Furthermore, when we looked into the accounts in question for this, we discovered that numerous entries for financial year 2019 and 2020 were missing, including this particular payment. It's a legal requirement to display the accounts online. I reported this to the clerk by email and verbally on the 25th of January after a full check of what was present. At that point, he couldn't tell me why these items are missing, and it appears that a file was edited on the 9th of August 2022 at 13:11, after the detailed audit had been requested. Since this time, we've repeatedly asked, and the clerk has asked as well, to obtain the website logs to understand who amended this document and investigate why. I do want to make it clear at this point, I do not believe this is done by the office staff, and we're still awaiting that report. As this is a breach of the council's legal obligation, Maxine and I have approached various organisations to seek help. And these are as follows: West Yorkshire Police, Action Fraud, Wakefield Council Monitoring Office, the Chief Legal Advisor at Wakefield Council, the Financial Conduct Authority, HMRC, the National Association of Local Councils, the Local Association of Yorkshire, the Yorkshire Local Council Association. This is why I don't like reading things. And finally, Little John's Auditor, who are responsible for the council's AGAR report. The police, Action Fraud, HMRC and the FCA told us it was not in their remit. NALC told us to contact the YLCA, so the National Council Association told us to contact the Yorkshire one. The Yorkshire Association will only investigate items raised by the clerk or the chair. The Monitoring Office and the Chief Legal Officer told us to contact Little John's, and Little John's told us they'd help no further. We've now enlisted the help of our MP's office. The key issue here is that the accounts that have been questioned have been removed from public scrutiny, and nobody can explain why. The accounts have now been updated. With all spend, however, the issue is not resolved. As you can imagine, this is massively frustrating. We face brick walls at every turn. We now have this clear evidence, and we would like to ask the chair and the clerk to report this matter to YLCA. Should they be unwilling to do so, or YLCA refuse to investigate, we then suggest a forensic audit to cover the spending at the water park and all contractor payments for the financial year 2019 and 2020. I must be clear, though, at this point, that the auditor can only identify areas of concern. We would be likely to face the same issues with reporting as we've done for the past month. Hence the suggestion to report to YLCA and get an investigation done outside. Now we've got this specific area of concern, though, I suspect if we did have to go for the forensic audit, it wouldn't cost us as much as the full 3-year forensic audit would have done, which I think is a more focused spend on the preset money. it would need to be agreed by the full council at whole, so we'll bring that to the next meeting if that's the case. And again, I've repeated myself, but again, I just need to be really clear that I've listed out the number of organisations that Maxine has spent hours on the phone to, gone into meetings, gone and visited them, and we're getting nowhere. So we're blocked no matter what we do. I'd also like to remove, we would also like to move, sorry Maxine, I don't mean to do that. Move a motion that the full audit report from Karen King be published with only names and job titles redacted. And we're going to put that on the agenda for the next council meeting. I also want to make aware at this point that the work this is not a reflection on the work that was done by Karen King, the auditor. So what Karen did was she reviewed the accounts bank statements and the internal documents. She didn't look at the published accounts because one would assume that once the accounts have been published and the AGAR report's been done and the financial close down of the year, that nobody should be amending those documents. So we thought those were okay, and it made sense to look at the bank accounts because those should be changed. And at this point, we just want to thank the public for their support and understanding that until we had all the correct information and we followed every procedure that was out there and went to everyone we couldn't share this information. Thank you. We will take questions on that when we get to public question time.
Thank you for looking into all that.
Next, item 11, Bank Street roof.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to make members aware, the roof at Bank Street will need some work, and I'm currently in the process of getting quotes. I'll report back in due course.
Thank you. Notice boards. I think this one's to, sorry, item 12. Do you just confirm the preferred locations for the 2 notice boards? Yeah, right. So I think the proposals were to put one in the flower bed that belongs to Home Bargains on the precinct.
But they own it though, we have to write to it.
They own it, so I'll have to write to them, just confirm, but I can't see that being a problem. And then the other one is within the grounds of the Fitzwilliam Centre. What do we need to do now then? Just vote on it?
Yeah.
Are we all in favour of those two, or anyone got any other suggestions?
I'm just a bit concerned about kids gathering in that area.
In Fitzwilliam?
No.
Hemsworth? I think anywhere else,
I
they're
know.
going to gather anyway, aren't they?
Wherever we put it, we've got to ask for permission anyway, so.
So we've got to ask for the advertising
Consent.
consent and that. I think let's just get it voted, because the more we push it down the line, the longer it's going to take to get them up, isn't it?
Yeah.
All in favour? Item 14, public question time. So this is to receive questions pertaining to the committee's remit from members of the public. So we have got 15 minutes for question time.
No.
First of all, can I just say thank you? First of all, can I say thank you to what you've just obviously said regarding the transparency in the accounts. I raised with before about things not being on the accounts, etc. So thank you. And again, perhaps the information that I sent to the auditor to look into, which was some of the things that you've raised, perhaps Karen would have been able to look at it. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, she didn't receive it. Right, my question is, I know it's in exclusion, but kind of that the toilets, are they going to be portals or a permanent building?
I think that's what's up for discussion.
Right, because if it is a permanent building, can you just ensure that you actually
Planning
know
permission,
that
yeah.
you need planning permission?
We need to decide what we need
Yeah.
to do with that.
Okay. And the other thing is, obviously in exclusion, you've got quite a number of things that you're proposing to either replace or work to be carried out. Where is those funds actually coming from? Because everything's unbudgeted for.
So
That's what we're gonna have to discuss, isn't it?
we're going to have to discuss it. I mean, the items that are on there, the reason they're in there is because obviously we have to discuss tenders and it's commercially sensitive. Some of the items may be pushed into next year. Okay, they're not budgeted for next financial year either. The things that have come upon us, you know, we've got the Play World on there as well, in the next meeting. I mean, I've laboured the point enough, you know, this sort of thing keeps happening and things keep getting pushed down the road, and we have to work out what we can cover out of what we've got left this year. We are over budget, but the reserves are there for emergencies. That's exactly what they're there for. And things like keeping Play World open, to me, is something we absolutely have to do. Other things we may have to look at if there's other options, cheaper options. But in short, Kathy, it will have to come out of reserves. I think that's right to say. Ellen. Oh, you said that off on it, didn't you?
26.
Yeah, so remaining reserves. This is the bottom number is to consider all those costs, isn't it? The wage increase, the tax and everything, yeah.
It goes into account, that will be left, yeah.
Taking into consideration the tax, the 10K that went on the water freezer, and then the work that we've got to consider, which is the remaining work around the paths and Play World. Then the remaining reserve will be 405K, over 405.5K. And our monthly outgoings are
100 grand, give or take.
100 grand. So in theory, we should have quarters worth, which is
300.
300K in reserves. So it does push us to the wire with saying for the extra.
And that doesn't include the peddlers.
No. Sorry.
Can I ask a question? Why is this work so necessary after 4 years? What's been going on in terms of maintenance? I thought the whole point of it was that we paid for general maintenance and upkeep for the water park and Play World. So why is it now we're having to look at raising the reserves? Pay for stuff, it shouldn't be done as a matter of thought.
The path was already discussed. I think we know why I can't tell you why it didn't get done. The Play World one, this is
Some was done last year, it's
some was done
it's just getting
last
old, yeah.
and it goes through a goes for an inspection, and the inspection has come back that those things are just no longer usable. So if we don't do them, we can't open Play World. Now, Alan and I discussed this, and I think what we need to do next year is bring the inspection before we set out the budget, so we can budget for it in the next year. I think it's just the way it fell.
It's rates dropped, yeah.
Alan will tell you, I was like, how did that, you know, why did we do it before? Hindsight, a wonderful thing, but next year we'll have to do that. But again, I can't tell you why.
So really, it's down to error. If I put it that way. But I've already had the people look at it, tell you what needed.
Timing, because it comes every year, and I think it's just always, am I right in saying, Alan, it's always fallen?
It's been every year, yeah, every year.
Sorry, what did I get?
You've had 4 years.
It's done every year.
No,
It's done every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So the inspection we're talking about, that's done every year. So it just happens to fall after the budget. So we did work last year. They do work every year. I think Play World, to be honest with you, I'm allowed to say how much it is.
On that for the reserve, yeah.
All right, so it's £31,000 for it, an amount for a play area so big. I think we do expect those kind of expenses. Any more questions?
Going back to the accounts, obviously more and more people now are getting on board with exactly what's been spent by this council over the last 4 years. We've seen the wastage, we're reading the accounts, we're checking ourselves, and Mr. Draper will know the amount of FOIs that he's getting in. People are noticing what's been spent. Now, people that can't notice, because the notice boards are going up, I ask council if you can actually pass it and agree, not just a full amount of expenditure and income. As we can see on the HTC website, the monthly accounts need to go on the notice boards so that everybody in the community who hasn't got access to social media, hasn't got access to HTC accounts website, as we're all checking, can we please, council, put the accounts, monthly accounts as they go on, onto the notice board, so all the community are well aware of the thousands of pounds that's being spent, the thousands of pounds that's being put into certain places that's losing money, and then at least the community know exactly what our PSEC money is being spent on.
I think we need a motion.
I can do that anyway.
You do it.
Yeah.
What we, I'm just thinking how easy it'd be to read though behind a perspex.
It'll be fine. Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
Do it in big writing. But even we don't know what's going on.
Why do you put car parking charges back on immediately? You're losing 30-40 grand here, aren't you?
I think we've agreed that.
That's been great.
Yeah, we've agreed it.
Yeah, so when you put it on my phone,
We need to get
With
the,
this year.
It's already on the website. It's going to be, it's a Easter holiday, half-term holiday and summer holiday.
all the time, not individually, all the time.
It's going on to what it used to be. I know it used to
going
be.
back to how it was before, and that's what earned us that
That-
money.
Well, that's why you're losing 50 grand a year.
That's why we put it back on again.
Well,
Any more questions? Okay, conscious that we have got another meeting, so we'll close the meeting to public there. We'll get on with the exclusions and then we'll invite you all back in when we've done that. Thank you very much.
see you in a bit. Don't get buried in snow.
The grant.
Yeah.
Do you put that directly into the
Sorry, Ben, I was telling myself, sorry.